Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of LostinTranslationmon. This time we're covering Digimon Ghost Game Episode 21, The Spider's Lure. I'm May, and I'm joined by the lovely Chloe.
Hello.
And of course, the equally lovely Quinn.
Hi.
So, just a bit of housekeeping because I might forget to mention at the end of the show, but apparently there's no episode next week, meaning that episode 22 is coming out on the 20th of March. This wasn't reflected in the monthly calendar that we get on the Digimon Twitter account, but that was likely just a copy and paste error. It is seemingly that there's no episode next week, according to the Fuji TV and also the official YouTube channel for Toei's release of Digimon. So I'm going to say that there's no episode next week, unless both of those sources are wrong, and which I doubt. So it's likely there's no episode next week. So don't go looking for an episode next week, unless of course that source was wrong, in which there will be an episode. It's not super clear because there was somewhere that says there was going to be an episode next week. Anyway, just thought I'd mention it at the top of the show, so nobody panics next week when they load up Crunchyroll and there's no episode of Ghost Game. And that's about it for the housekeeping. We're all in the podcast recording booths today, which is exciting. Even though we're not in podcast recording booths and we're all separate, we're just on a Zoom call. But yeah. It almost didn't happen because I had to get my dog groomed, and then two of the groomer's dogs decided to flee into the countryside. So we had to fix that, but we found them all, so that was exciting.
Instead of Zoom, we decided to just use Meta and pretend to be in recording booths talking to each other.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
Yeah, I was about to say, wow. That's the future that Mark Zuckerberg wants.
Apparently.
And I don't want that future.
You're just giving them free advertising.
Yeah, they haven't sponsored us, and I don't think I want them to.
Nor would I.
But anyway, hopefully that reference will become extremely dated in about 3 weeks, as all tech things tend to
I don't know.
Quickly.
It was in a Neil Stephenson book, like, almost the time I was born, and it still hasn't gone away.
The concept, sure, but the implementation, you know.
I know. Even the damn...
We've wanted sci-fi glasses forever, but Google Glass never took off.
See, I don't know Neil Stephenson's books. I just know that my partner likes those books. So I will tell him that there was that
having
reference.
read all of them several times.
Yeah, I think one of the books is about, like, the eyes being some magic or something. I don't know. I think it's one of the ones that my partner's recommended to me, but I have a huge recommendation list of books because when I was unmedicated, I couldn't read books. But now I can read books, so I have a huge backlog of things. But anyway, sci-fi future, let's talk about Ghost Game, which is sort of a sci-fi future.
In the near future, holograms have become a new technology, as they remind us at the beginning of every episode.
Yes. Which is, I think we got the same sort of thing that one. But anyway, and it's always in a very creepy voice. But anyway, let's recap this week's episode in case you're listening this in the future and you're not sure which episode this is. So, a very suspicious, mysterious lady invites Hiro and his friends to an insect exhibit, and they go along with it despite it being incredibly suspicious. It's basically Arukenimon, which is the woman, spoilers, is like, hey Hiro, I know your mum, and he's like, sounds legit, and it's incredibly suspicious. So yeah, the woman, surprise surprise, turns out to be Arukenimon, and she's just in her human disguise that she used in Adventure 02, which is, I'm glad they reused that,
She was a fox.
Yeah, she's kind of, like,
I think I need a cosplay.
Know if it's just, like, I don't know if this is just because, like, whenever I rewatch 02, I'm still watching it like, I watched this for the first time when I was, like, 9, but watching this now, or maybe it's just because it's how it's animated, but she is gorgeous.
Yeah, no, it's just like, who is this sexy woman, and why do I feel like I'm going to regret being attracted to her?
Like, I mean, I think maybe I'd be so, like, wow, she's stunning. I'd also forget about how suspicious she is, but she was just, has she always been this gorgeous?
Look, all I'm saying is she got a lot of men into that trap that, you know.
She did.
Yeah, and they're like, wow, wait, this isn't what I thought when she said that she was going to eat my head. Like, it's...
And you wouldn't let me make my joke
You
last
wouldn't let it,
week.
yeah.
I couldn't help myself. And then I watched this episode and I was just like, oh dear. But yeah, so Arukenimon is actually the spider lady. And I don't know, like, again, I referenced this far too much considering I don't actually know the character's name and I haven't played the video game, but remember that zombie witch lady that everyone was attracted to for like a month?
Lady Demetresque.
Yeah, I think Arukenimon and her should, like, hang out and have, like, a sleepover or something and just be gorgeous together.
Sleepover.
You know, just
There
gals
won't
being
be
pals.
much sleeping meme or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they're just gals being pals. It's
Anywho,
fine.
we're making it a long one, so...
Sorry, yes, we're making it a long one. So, yeah, Arukenimon says she's going to eat some brilliant minds, and then the group gets split up and fight against hordes of Dakugumon, and each of the three ends up being captured. Gamamon is about to have his head eaten, a woo, but evolves into Gulas Gamamon and defeats Arukenimon, and then a black Galgomon watches on. So that's cool. Now that we've gone over the synopsis for this week's episode, let's discuss the discussions. What were our highlights this week?
This episode was great.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
always a sucker for a ghost game where we have someone die in the intro and in a way that makes it pretty clear that they're not going to undie later.
Yeah, but like this death seemed almost more gruesome than the disintegrating before
Digimon
your
has
eyes one,
no
because
idea how scary this series is supposed to be.
Well,
Yeah.
see, no, that's the thing. Plot important episodes are scary. The other stuff is, the filler is either scary or not sometimes. But plot
Yeah, but
important
this
episodes
was
have been
like-
scary.
But this was like not just scary. This was even though we don't actually see anything particularly graphic,
was
the
kinda
sound
gruesome.
effects, like
Yeah, we got audio.
They did an incredible job of making it just incredibly gruesome with just the audio. Like there was some like sloshing of blood, and it was just
Some
Digimon
cracking of
really
bones.
likes to traumatize children, and I'm kind of here for it.
yeah. Even I was a little bit disgusted, a little bit freaked. Like I'm arachnophobic, so this whole episode, even though they were animated spiders,
Oh, yeah,
did
no.
not sit well with me. I was like, oh, I don't want to have my legs under the table because spiders will grab me. Like, I have, it's a phobia. It's completely like irrational. I know that spiders are good, but I am terrified of them.
Oh, yeah.
And even though these were very, very cartoony animated spiders, this episode just had me like, oh, gross. Like, just scary things. And yeah, and that worked really well, even though maybe it's not meant to be that scary because not everyone is that arachnophobic. I still think it was just like, oh, no, get the...
Yeah, no,
Get the
like,
big
I'm not
scary spiders
particularly
away.
arachnophobic, but, you know, like, I had to move my mic across the room for this, and the cord dragged on my foot, and it was like, ah!
Yeah. Like, I just, It's
Yeah.
like, sometimes I feel like, oh, is that a hair or a spider web, or is there something, like, is there something
that's
crawling
the
on me,
worst.
or am I just,
But,
God,
God,
and
I
there's
love how
nothing that makes
hardcore
you
this
mo-
episode
Yep.
was.
Yeah, like very. It went very quickly too. It was like it went from, oh, this suspicious lady is just being creepy to she's going to eat them. It escalated so quickly, and I don't think this episode had the usual pacing issues at all.
I was actually just going
And-
to say the same, yeah.
Yeah, other than
I mean,
that, I
mainly
think we could have
because
spared
it
10
just went
more
to death.
seconds on setup with... Yeah. Anyhow.
Like, I mean, Gulas Gamamon does a good job of like, nope, no talking time, murder. Like, I like that. Like, there is no chance for them to have any more conversation because Gulas Gamamon is just like, how about some murder?
Yeah.
And
I have a
murder
theory
we
on
got.
that, but I will wait until the Misk Thoughts area.
Okay.
I look forward to that. But yeah, like in general, this episode was just, it did everything that Ghost Game can do well. It was paced fairly well, which I don't really say that for a lot of the episodes. It was creepy, it was gross, but not like like, not too gross. It was the right amount of gross. Like, we don't actually get to see the decapitation, but we can hear it, which makes up for it.
Right, and they do the zoom in on the teeth. Ah.
Yeah. They had a lot of, like, really good just, crazy eye, face right in the camera stuff that always gave me a little shudder.
I was into the laugh for all that it, sounded like someone in StarCraft Online doing a Zerg rush.
I'll have to take your word for that. But no, yeah, the laugh, I couldn't decide if the laugh was scary or funny, and I think that's a good line to tread.
Yeah, I think when you're
she
doing
was goals
like,
in
a
both
kid
forms.
show...
If you insist.
I also like that we didn't get to see Betelgeuse. We got to see every other evolution besides Betelgeuse, and that was my favourite, because I'm getting a little bit sick of it always being Betelgeuse.
Yeah, just best Gamamon.
And I like Housekeeping's probably my favourite, though now I think maybe Betelgeuse might be my... Not Betelgeuse, I hate Betelgeuse. Gulusgamamon might be my favourite.
Yeah.
Just because that voice, my gosh.
Yeah. That's good. I like that a more minor highlight that's just kind of... We've already hit the big ones for me, but as far as more minor highlights go, I liked that we remembered that Hiro has a mom.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that we would never find out anything about the mum, but no, we actually get to know that she is alive and exists.
And, like, texts her son occasionally.
Yeah, although...
Which is nice.
I have more questions about that than there are answers, because... So, was Arukenimon impersonating a real person who's now visiting?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay, but then...
She used her neural network to predict that
But she got there before the text.
Soon. Because neural networks, Quinn, you don't understand. Neural networks.
No, I actually think that the friend was actually Arukenimon.
But the text from Mom didn't show up until after.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. That's why I think that it was just she predicted it because she's trying to do a neural network machine learning thing.
Okay.
Look, the algorithm knows, Quinn. The algorithm knows. I guess I'm sort of down for more mysterious Digimon looking down on plot events from above, because that's happened like 2 or 3 times now, but I would appreciate it if they could like dribble in some more hints about what their actual purpose is with that soon, because like we've already got 2 now. We got Agumon way back, and we got
Black
the
Gelman,
one whose name I don't remember this time.
Black Gelgamon.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if they're the same Digimon. Like, did Black Agumon evolve into Black Gelgamon?
Can it do that?
Probably. It's Digimon. Any
Yeah.
Digimon can evolve into any Digimon.
Seriously? Oh, God, that's
so Chloe's
awful.
never seen anything but the anime where they just don't do that, really, most of the time.
Yeah,
Except
the
for
anime
the
tends to be
important
more
character
linear.
this time.
Fair. Well, this is the anime, so I'm inclined to say that it's probably not the same.
Yeah, but it's the anime that's incorporating the Valda bracelet, which is like there's Palmon on a dim, right? And
Sure.
Palmon doesn't evolve into Togemon at all. Like there's no
Which
Togemon
used
on
to
that
be a
dim.
thing.
However, there is Togemon on another dim.
Wait,
of
I
this
heard
little,
Patamon, not Palmon. Brain fart.
No, yes, sorry. Palmon usually evolves into Togemon, but on this dim, there's a Palmon, but there's no Togemon. But then Togemon's on a different dim with this little like brown sand lizard who evolves into Togemon. So this series and the dims tend to be a little less linear. So if this anime is using the Valda bracelet and the dims more, I wouldn't be surprised if we have more evolutions that change it up a little bit.
Well, I assume there's also a similar merch tie-in for Appmon, right? Probably.
They had like a toy, but
And a
of the
3DS
Digivice,
game.
but that's in.
There wasn't, like, a
and they
game
sold the
with
chips. The chips that they used in the anime, you could use with the 3DS game. You could use on this online portal to win things, and you could use it with the in-season Digivice. But there's always been a Digivice toy for every season.
Yeah. So did they also have the weird, anything can evolve into anything on those?
Oh, yeah.
With Atmon, they don't really evolve. They have more like they fuse with it. So
That's true.
it was more in line with the anime.
Okay, well, there goes my only attempt at a counterexample. Dang.
Yeah, and for reference, there has been Galgomon on a dim, but there's not been Black Galgomon. And
So-
there's also... Yep.
Was this a black Galgomon, or was it just a Galgomon in shadows? Because it looked like
Oh, no,
there was still
it's-
plenty of, you know...
No, it's absolutely Black Galgomon, because Black Galgomon is specifically brown and black, and that was the design of this Digimon. And yeah, so there is also Black Galgomon on a dim, but there's no Galgomon on that dim, and there's no Black Galgomon on any dim. So I'm wondering if that will...
Aren't there
if
more
we'll get a
dims
dim with
coming,
Black
like,
Galgomon.
real soon?
There's always more dims.
There is one coming out this month, which is Wormon's evolution line, and then there are two that we don't have information about, but all we know is that there's Agunimon and Wolfmon from Season 4, but we don't know what else will be on that, just Agunimon and Wolfmon.
Okay. All I'm saying is, they can still introduce things if they feel like it, and that would be a real good excuse for why. That being said,
Yeah.
it is early to call the idea that they're the same Digimon, based on both being dark.
If they're the
frames.
same Digimon, I'm going to riot.
I actually want them to be the same Digimon, just because
We don't
how many
weird,
Digimon can we just have
or don't do
watching?
weird things. Yeah.
And why is Agumon watching the first time and now it's Black Galgomon? To me, it makes more sense if they're the same Digimon and it's just evolved.
Okay,
Maybe
so
next time
how
it'll
does-
be a perfect level.
How does Black Tailmon fit into this, then? Is Black Tailmon
That
its
is-
own Digimon for no particular reason?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that one's its own Digimon.
Okay.
Unless Black Tailmon evolved into Black Galgomon, which they're both adult levels, so that's not particularly possible, I think.
Oh, that's one that's not possible because of Digimon rules?
Well,
I thought everything could evolve into everything.
There's been one season that let you
within
do
reason.
within the same level.
Within reason.
Okay,
Within
let's not say within reason. But this isn't Nom. This is
That
bowling.
might be the funniest
There are
thing you've ever
rules.
said.
Wow, that's sad. But also, I'm not sure if y'all remember, but very early in the series, we had the purple Cubimon show up and be kind of suspiciously hey, don't talk to me, I'm kind of just doing my own thing, and people are giving me offerings and stuff.
That's true.
I very vaguely
I
remember
wonder
that.
if we're doing a faction.
Faction. Now, I think the
know,
faction
monster.
thing, we got a comment about it, and it was it's the merging of fact and fiction, and I'm like, oh, no, that makes sense.
Fact Ion.
Maybe.
Fact ion. We're doing some science and some neural networks, approximately.
My last highlight that I wanted to mention is that I actually really liked the more under control Gulus Gamamon, because I felt like, if anything, it's a little scarier than an out of control one, because you know that it's not just he's not just a rage monster. It also has plans and schemes and machinations going on behind the scenes, especially as evidenced by the whole, nope, it's not time yet, see ya, and then just reverts.
Yeah. He has
it's
a
scary,
plan,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Him having a plan is much more scary than just I do what I want. This is him just with a plan, and yeah, I really love Gulus Gamamon. Is my favorite character in the whole series so far. Even though I love Jellymon and Kiyoshiro, Gulus Gamamon, every time he shows up, it's just that voice actor is doing such a good job of that voice. And we also had the evolution from Gamamon. It wasn't just when Gamamon first evolved to Gulus Gamamon, it was a scream of Gamamon Shinka! This was more just a standard Gamamon Shinka, just how he usually says it for all of his other evolutions. The animation was still dark and evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't have the pained scream of anguish that we got last time. This one was just more almost like he had it more under control, that this is who he wanted to evolve into, and he wasn't full of too much pain.
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
So
it
it
did
made
seem more
choose
in
now.
control, or... Yeah.
Yeah.
But his eyes did change, but it just felt to me that this was a little bit more in control.
Yeah, maybe
And
a more
he was
gestalt
more
entity.
sure of it. Yeah. But yeah, I love Gulas Gamamon so much. Every time he shows up, it's just like, yay! Oh, we're gonna do some damage!
Yep, I was very excited to see Gulus. It's not the episode I expected to see Gulus, but I'm glad we got Gulus.
It makes sense.
Surprised.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I thought we were going to, like, last week, it just felt like we were just going to get an evolution last week, but we didn't. And then I was not expecting any sort of big Gulas Gamamon evolution. Even when they were all captured, I was just like, oh, here comes heroes. Hey, did you know that people don't like getting their faces eaten? And I reckon we're going like, oh, really? Oh, no.
I'm very glad.
I saw two people at a park on a bench, and I thought that's what they were doing. Oh, damn, you're right.
You know,
okay,
I will say,
everyone's free.
For someone trying to hunt down really intelligent brains to eat, why'd you go with a bunch of, older office worker dudes?
Well, the one at least was a scientist who was showing off all of his, automated machinery crap, and the other two, I think, were just kind of collateral damage.
That's fair.
I mean, she also said that a bunch of 14-year-olds had brilliant minds, so...
Well, yeah, they're protagonists.
One of them is in grad school,
protagonist
which,
minds.
I am just here to tell you is very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, like Kiyoshiro is actually a brilliant mind,
He's
but Hiro
genius.
and Ruri are just they just have protagonist energy.
Mm-hmm.
I was mostly
And that's the tasty
joke
stuff,
about
apparently.
me being in grad school.
Yeah, protagonist is part of a well-balanced breakfast.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Anyway, do we have any other highlights? Because this whole episode was just chef's kiss, brilliant.
This time, Angoramon had a cheesy one-liner at the end, except it actually made me laugh. That was nice.
Yeah.
I love the little haikus we get at the end of each episode.
Yeah, and the one that was
I feel like
Digimon spiders are not welcome anymore, and I was like, that's pretty good.
I like it. I like the fact that we've got the Digimon partners having personalities. Like, I couldn't really say that in a lot of colon. Like, it just seemed that
Gamamon's still
human
pretty
partners...
blank slate.
Oh yeah, Gamamon is still just his baby, but Gulas Gamamon, personality. Like,
I'll give it to Gamamon. He's got, most of the personalities are all more or less the same, but Gulus is different enough that I'll say that, Gamamon has personality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but only because of Gulus. Otherwise, his personality is just his baby.
More or less.
Yeah.
Is baby or can fight.
Gives bad vibes, goes kaboom.
Mm-hmm.
Ready for lowlights? Because I don't even know if I have lowlights.
Most of my lowlights are just kind of nitpicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, go off, I guess. Nitpick time?
Sure. So the first little nitpick was just kind of me wondering whether Hiro's stranger danger senses are up to snuff. Like, does he literally just believe everything he's told? Because I don't recall him ever having talked on screen to his mom about Gamamon, so why is he just like, oh, okay, when she says
we got the text
that
later.
She heard about... Well, and, like, Arachnimon, which is what I'm going to call her because I'm not going to call her Arukenimon because that's dumb, said, oh, yeah, I heard about Gamamon from your mom. And he's just like, oh, okay. Yeah. And I was like, wait, when did you talk to your mom about Gamamon?
I just realised that I'm consistently just using the English dub name for Arukenimon because it's so ingrained in my mind. I was like, I'm already reading it as Arukenimon at all time. I see Arachnimon and I'm like, Arukenimon, right. That is the name. So every time someone says Arachnimon, it just, like, as the youth would say, sends me. I'm just, what?
I'm glad I could send you.
And, like, and a lot of the English dub was just, like, pronouncing it in different ways. They were like, are you Kennymon? It's wonderful. But yeah, sorry.
I don't
continue.
understand
and
how
that
no
was
one involved with the dub knew what an arachnid was.
Yeah. And that was actually my second bullet point, was that, the subtitles on the one I got that said Archnimon. I'm gonna do Digimon a solid and assume that was just an oblivious subtitler's doing, but like, I'm just gonna call her Arachnimon.
I mean, we've already had Picklemon being Piccolomon, and there's like a consistent typo which is in official merchandise, which has Ogamon as written as Orgamon. So
Yes,
sometimes
Gaimon.
the English translations are not good. Also, in some of the video games and in the card game, Paildremon's attack, which is Desperado Blaster, is written as Death Parade Blaster.
Yep.
And
much cooler.
we have Baby Dramon, which is Baby Domon. And, of course, I will never forget Demon being Creepymon in various bits of media. And then, of course, we have my original favourite, Kirpymon, which is a mistranslation of Cherubimon. A+.
Okay.
A+ every time.
Fair enough. Well, so yeah, that's dumb. And then the only other lowlight that I really have that I wrote down, I feel like there might have been some more that I might remember later that I just forgot to write down, but I was a little bummed about just the ease with which we resolved the whole Gulas Gamamon situation. But, at least they made it, all ominous and foreshadowing with the whole "it's not time yet" bit. So
Yeah, so
it's just kind of a nitpick.
we're
I was
on
hoping
that,
for a
I
little
wanna
bit
go
more
into my theory
tension.
here if we can.
Hit me.
Yep.
So the thing he says in Japanese is "Sore wa ano toki janai." It's not that time yet. And then he just vanishes. But since we've had Clockmon establish that time travel is a thing, and that he gets his butt whooped by, I assume, Gulas Gamamon in the future, I'm curious
that
to
was
see
the
if
past.
Gulas is timey-wimey. Didn't he also go to the future? Well, okay, and was impressed by how strong he was, but still.
Yeah,
But we don't
he
know that
came
was
back
Gulus.
and was impressed.
That's true.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was Gulas, he wouldn't have come back. He would have just been dead.
That's fair. Anyway, I'm just curious if Gulas is possibly timey-wimey in some sense.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some timey-wiminess. I mean, the Digivices are also clocks. So,
Did you warm up for that stretch?
no, but I should have, because now I've got pulled hammies. Look, I was gonna go with like Clockmon being like the true bad guy.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to. I'm better now.
Wow.
I was like, okay, we can continue. No, we're still laughing.
Yeah, sorry.
That's fair. Do we have any other lowlights at all?
None that are jumping to mind.
I'll give him the last
'cause I don't
nitpick
really-
that it's weird that no
Oh, yeah?
cops have noticed how many times these kids are nearby when people get murdered.
Yeah, the cops in this universe are not very good.
Well, people don't really tend to get murdered. They get unmurdered at the end of the episode most of the time. It's really only been
no,
the
I'm
two
pretty
times
sure-
now.
I'm just saying, we're up to like
I'm pretty
Alice
sure
isn't
these-
dead levels of showing up at the scenes of very suspicious crimes.
Alice Isn't Dead is such a good podcast, and I cried so hard when it ended. because it was so
I've
good.
only
I've
heard
never
a couple,
listened to
but
it.
Everyone, listen to all of it, please. It's very good. Anyway, I don't have any lowlights this episode. A plus. Wonderful. Yay! Clap, 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 clap.
Indeed.
I do wish we'd gotten a little more out of Gulas.
Yeah, it would have been nice if there was a little
kind
bit
of
more
like
like.
it.
Well, I mean, yeah, like it worked fine. The ominous "it's not time yet," the kind of implied "I'll be backness" was pretty okay, but I was just kind of hoping for a little bit more, like confrontation or tension over, oh God, is he going to attack us again? How are we going to handle this now? Sure, we're out of the immediate danger, but we're back in another danger. But then he was just kind of like, okay, bye.
We sure got
so-
little a plot as a treat.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good.
Also, the fact that next week is allegedly a break week makes me kind of like, I want more. I want more Ghost Game now, because this was a good episode. Were this like just to be a normal like mon of the week, like hero talks down the bad guy and the bad guy's like, whoops, my bad, sorry G.
Sorry for all
Is
the
just-
murders I done.
Sorry for the murders, you know me, shrug, lol, whatevs. But no, if it was just one of those episodes, I would be kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. A week off is good. It's nice to have a break every now and again. But because like this week's episode was good, I was just like, oh, it's really nice to have a break. But also, even though next Like,
I will say that
I'm considering, like...
They've set us up in advance to have Gulis only murder people who pretty much deserve it so far, and that's feeling I don't know, a little cute to me, and at some point I feel like we're gonna have to deal with the elephant in the room of, the incredibly dangerous Digimon, and I'm a little sad that we just kind of hand-waved that this week.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of get it. It's something that only pops out in, do-or-die situations.
Yeah.
He was literally going to get killed if he didn't go to Gulus this time. And then the other one, I can't remember if there was a knife currently being shot at him or not before.
No.
Either way, he did just see his friend get killed in front of him.
Upstate, yeah.
I think a knife was being thrown at either Hero or Gamamon, and that's when the evolution happened.
That's true.
But, I don't know, Gulus Gamamon did also try to kill the kids last time. Like, he was kind of saying, you're all dorks.
He was rage monstering last time, but this time he was cool,
he was
calm,
very
and
much
collected, and it was even that much
there.
more scarier.
Yeah, they are showing
absolutely.
Gamamon growing up, which is, I think, what we're
well, because
as
as Gamamon gets more control over himself, I guess Gulus Gamamon, like all of the Gamamons do. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of neat. But what you were saying earlier with the I've had, basically, for the exact same reasons, the exact opposite reaction. I'm glad that we're having a little hiatus on a high note here, so that I can just be like, I'm now looking forward to Digimon, as opposed to, like, wanting more now. I'm just like, it's so nice that we can just kind of have the hiatus on a high note, so that we can have good Digimon memories for a couple weeks and then get back to it, as opposed to, just being disappointed and, like, relieved that it's a hiatus.
Yeah, but Chloe, otherwise it wouldn't be a hiatus, it'd be a lowitis.
Well done.
By the way,
what's wrong with me this week.
You're gonna maybe need to wait a while before you can get me to dive into the colon dub. That's... Yeah,
that is fair. I mean... We don't even know when the colon dub is going to be.
Hopefully
it could be,
never.
Like, in a year.
Oh, no, it got announced at Digimon Con.
Yeah, it got announced a week ago.
It was
kind of
Fire
hinted at,
Festival.
like, a few weeks before. Yeah. It was the Digimon Dash Con. But anyway, are we ready to move on to our favourite characters?
I think so.
Probably only the one,
My
really.
favourite character was Gamamon, because Gulus Gamamon existed, and I was just like, hey, Gamamon can be good too. So I chose Gamamon as my favourite character this week. Chloe, who is your favourite?
Arachnimon, definitely. Goals in human form, scary as hell in Digimon form, and just good start to finish.
Yeah.
Oh, I remembered another low light. That's not what a neural network is.
Okay, so I kind of want to jump in here because I want to be a scientist for a minute at y'all.
Yep.
So they're real garbled in how they got here, but there is something really interesting that I learned from a book called The Red Hourglass that anyone who wants to read some really, really creepy but well-written non-fiction essays about, really deadly and weird creatures should go for it. It's named for Black Widows, and it talks about things like spider webs and how complex they are, in large part because spider webs are not sticky everywhere. They have, large parts of them are not sticky so that the spider can get around, but the spider then has to remember which parts are sticky and not, as well as the intricate pattern of the web itself. So... And there is an argument to be made that, we will understand a lot better how to make a good neural net if we can figure out the algorithm by which they make and then remember the spider webs, which they must have because their brains are just not large enough to have that much memory. But yeah, they got real garbled with the explanation there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took a machine learning course my last semester of college, and admittedly I missed the neural net lectures because I was busy finishing the final project, but I'm going to assume it's going to follow the pattern of the rest of the class, and it's just a bunch of linear algebra done in a slightly different way.
Yeah, This one's good for interpolations and things, so you can use it for facial recognition more easily than a lot of them. But that's about it. Also, we call it a neural network, but it works based on how we think brains possibly work, so...
But calling it a neural network parentheses question mark close parentheses is just, it doesn't
I'll
really
be honest,
flow
I
as
really
well.
wish we could make them do that.
A neural network. But yeah, Arachnimon was my favorite Digimon this week.
Yeah, 100%.
That is fair. I would have chosen Arachne/Arukenimon if Gulas Gamamon didn't appear, but I love Gulas Gamamon so much. And again, that voice is just, it's such a departure from Gamamon's voice and personality. It's just like, props to the voice actor. Like, wow.
Yeah.
It sounds.
I'm sure Gulas
It was a
will
tough
get
call
it
between them.
on the first real Gulas episode we get, but yeah, on this one
What
I
are
had
you
to
talking
go.
about? We've already, the first episode with Gulas was the first real Gulas episode.
Well, yes, I meant the next one that we get. I'm sure I'll enjoy. This one, however, was, like 5 seconds of being ominous.
Okay, that's fair.
But I see what you meant.
That's fair. So, Quinn, who was your favourite?
Arukenimon, let's say, this time.
Okay, we're going Arachne and Arukenimon. Different Digimon, apparently.
Yeah. Look, both forms. Also, I need the human forms, just whole
Outfit.
vibe, especially the outfit, except maybe lose the hat.
Yeah, the hat was a lot, but everything else, like,
The purple
Did
lipstick.
I ever tell you that when I was a kid and I first saw Arukenimon's human form, I thought it was one of, like, Miyako's siblings or Miyako herself?
That would have been real good.
And I thought there was going to be, like, an evil twist, but no, it was just a Digimon in human disguise. But because they both had purple hair and glasses, I was like, same person!
Oh, I do have the question.
Which
Can
makes no
all
sense.
Arachnimon do this, or... God, please let it be the same
they-
one from 02. It won't be, but
Well, we had Mummymon in episode, like, 2.
we did.
I can't remember.
But Mummymon...
He changed clothes as well, I think.
That's fair, although I think Mummymon has had the clothing change in Fusion.
He was in Fusion? I can't remember.
Pretty sure?
I
know
can say with
Beelzebub was in
authority
Fusion.
that I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
I actually don't remember.
I was reasonably sure, but, I'm now questioning that. Because,
I don't know, I could be completely wrong. Like, I think Cross Wars is the season that I've seen the least often. Like, I've rewatched it
I
the least.
only
think I've
watched
only
it the once, it was
twice.
fine.
We found a Digimon
Yeah.
thing that Air doesn't know.
Maybe. I mean, I have watched it, but only twice.
But there's a factoid that you don't know, and that's blowing my mind.
Maybe.
I never thought I'd see
I
the
have been
day.
wrong before. I've been wrong at least once in my life. I can probably confirm that, but I'm not 100%. Anyway, so
I want to applaud us
ratings
all
out of
for not
5.
making the I thought I was once joke.
Hmm?
Let's see, I thought I was wrong once, but I was wrong.
No, okay, I get it. But anyway, rating for this episode, I gave it a 5 out of 5 because, yay, I liked it. I like Gulas Gamamon, and I'm easily impressed. 5 out of 5 for me. Chloe, what are you giving it?
I think I'm also doing a 5 out of 5. It was actually scary, like more or less front to back. There were a couple things that kind of made me giggle, like Ruli shouting "Jive!" Like that made me snort. But
Yeah, that was a new attack also.
I forgot that, I forgot to put that in the highlights, I'll be honest.
that's fair.
Just yelling jive.
Jive.
Yeah. But like other than that, it was pretty scary start to finish. And it was just a good episode. So yeah, I'm also going 5 out of 5.
That's fair. And Quinn?
Same.
Oh, all 5s across the board again.
Consensus,
For the
baby.
second week in the row, we're giving a full 5 out of 5, which means that overall it is a 15 out of 15, which means... Wow, we actually have a few times we've actually all given 5s. Because this never happened in Colon, I'm just like, wow, we actually gave 5s multiple times. So our previous episodes we've given 5 out of 5 was last week's episode 13, which was the other Gulas Gamamon episode, and episode 5, which was the Jellymon introduction episode. where are we putting this week's episode in the overall ranking? Because it is kind of on the same level as episode 13, 5, and last week's episode.
Let's see.
I think I'm going to put it at the top of mine.
Okay.
I put it in second place of mine.
I think I would put it under the first Gulaskamamon episode, under episode 13, but above the other ones. So second place as well for me, yeah.
Second place. So it's second place for me, second place for Chloe, and first place for Quinn. So I guess that would mean that it is in second place overall.
Majority rules.
Which is still, it's... I was kind of throwing up between whether or not I wanted to put this in first or second place, but I'm just like, the first Gulaskamamon episode was pretty strong, but yeah, so it's second place overall, and so our big, like our top 5 is like episode 13, episode 21, episode 5, and episode 20. So we've had some good episodes these last chunk, and that's exciting, but also... Please do not go down from here, Digimon, because...
Oh, they will, and I'm not going to get my hopes up that they won't, because they will. There'll be more filler between now and the end, but...
Oh, but hopefully it's good filler, because it can be...
I also remember how much hope we had for Colin.
Yeah, but that was dashed, like, within 10 episodes. This is 21 episodes strong.
That's fair.
No, they just wanted to make it hurt all the more.
Like, I mean,
Taichi will show up through the dimensional barrier.
And then that's why we have Black Galgamon. No, the Black Galgamon is just Willis's Galgamon from Hurricane Touchdown. He has pants now.
Peter Panmon and Hookmon will have adopted Taichi.
Actually, that's the good end.
I think Taichi evolved into Black Agumon.
God, I wish.
Or he jog rest. But, yeah, so do we have any miscellaneous thoughts?
Yes, I need to make a formal apology on air because it appears that I'm just an idiot who doesn't know how to see things with her eyeballs. They're definitely...
You're making an apology on me?
I really think you need
You're
to
writing an apology on me?
I mean, I could if you want me to, I guess. It'd require, like, a plane ticket, and it just seems like it'd be more effort than it's worth. I need to apologize on the podcast. Because there definitely is a difference in the digital forms where they have the little glitch-looking thing effect that I'd never really noticed before, and when they don't have that. So that kind of nullifies some of my criticisms of the last episode. However, I'm still not 100% convinced that they haven't been a little inconsistent with that in the past. However, I've also not gone back to confirm that they've been inconsistent, so... I'll just say, yeah, I was definitely wrong, and I'll try to pay better attention to that moving forward.
That is the rules they established.
But I'm still a little sus about it.
I just still think they could draw a little bit of attention to it now and again, because it is supposed to be episodic, you know?
But there's only so much that they can point out and explain each episode.
Yeah, no, if they did that every time, I'd get very annoyed with it very quickly.
Oh, no, all I'm saying is, like, they could have pointed it out, you know, one more time since then. And it would have been fine.
I don't know if y'all have ever watched Hunter x Hunter.
I've not.
But there's something called Nen in Hunter x Hunter, which is just, like, different power levels. And, like, they definitely turn up the Shonen explains what happens every 5 minutes multiple times in an episode. But they explain what Nen is so often, I stopped paying attention and have thus forgotten what Nen is other than just, like, magic shonen power magic. But, yeah, it's very shonen in the way that they explain it all the time. So I think I could do without another shonen show showing me and telling me something every episode that I just stop caring about so aggressively and just stop paying attention to the explanation because they're like, Nen is the power, ... blank, 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 I zone out. That's it, and it's constant.
You know, I know you're saying
like a good
Nen like N-E-N, but my brain keeps hearing N-A-N, not a number, which is what power levels should be.
I mean, it could be worse. I could just be saying Nyan,
Nyan. I'd be here for that.
Please explain what
Nyan it's a great power
to me every 5 minutes.
Nya. We're gonna cut that out. Nya, but Nyan more of that kind of going on. But yeah, do we have any miscellaneous thoughts other than making apologies to the show?
I'm curious how much effort they put into making Guluskemon just the edgiest dude ever, because, like, everything about his model is just designed to be edgy, and it was exemplified for me when I realized today that he is wearing a belt around the neck of his tattered cloak.
He looks like the opening of Mega Man Zero.
It's like this is what could have happened to Sasuke
Wow.
if things had gone wrong. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got as far as miscellaneous thoughts.
I have a miscellaneous thought, and it's how have we gone for almost an hour of recording without mentioning that we had Vor?
Oh, wow, yeah, we tried to have Digivore. Okay, yeah, never mind.
We had...
Well, it wasn't...
We had a carnivorous woman
human Vor.
eating brains.
No, I meant like Digimons eating each other.
Oh, she wanted to.
She wanted to. She tried to.
Yeah.
She didn't. She got.
We only got attempted hot Digimon on Digimon action.
Well, no,
Please don't say it like that.
I love... Okay, one more highlight, but the moment of, like, Arukenimon just like, I'm gonna eat you, and Guruskamon will be like, fine, eat this, and just punches her in the mouth, and then just explodes her head, was just so cool. It was, like, we had a comment once which was like, they say so much and extra far too often, and I'm like, but this is really just so much. Like, I love it.
Look,
like,
I introduced Radtacular for you people.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, we need to use Radtacular, and not I'm here for it. We can't say things are so much anymore. But no, that was very so much and very extra, and I'm very much here for it.
I refuse to censor myself.
Alright everyone, so now that we're done discussing the discussions, let's ponder, predict, and post Mom Pat. So first up, we'll go over to YouTube for our comments, and we'll do what the internet tells us not to do and read those YouTube comments. So first up, we have Danny, who says they like how when Wes and Gammon fell on his back, he started shooting from his feet. That was so cool. And yeah, Wes and Gammon's growing on me, but I think my favourite, if it isn't Chaos Gammon, is definitely Gulas Gammon. Everyone but Battle Gammon, basically.
It's a nice little touch that they added that makes it so that Wezengammon isn't just the shows up, stand still, and shoot gun Digimon. Instead, if he gets flipped over, he can also shoot gun from foot.
That's very cool. I'm just easily impressed by things.
Certainly all things Digimon.
You do bring a certain degree of childlike wonder to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the way to enjoy Digimon the most, is just to approach it, like, in the way that will make your inner 10-year-old happy. Like, watching Ghost Game just makes that inner 10-year-old that originally watched Digimon just sitting down, playing the Digimon World games, renting the Digimon movie from Video Easy, just that kind of life. And yeah, there's just like that part of me just like, yay, Digimon. Anyway, next up we have Ponchimon, who says that they admit they were in the group expecting there to be some connection between all the dark variants of the Digimon, such as Black Tailmon, Saberdramon, Dark Lizardmon, etc. But they like it better this way. It was a complete subversion of expectations. After all, why should a Digimon being a dark variant inherently condemn it to being evil? We already learned that stuff like Black War Greymon back in Zero 2. And indeed, that seems to be the point of this episode in particular, that you can't judge things based off first appearance, and doing so can lead to tragic misunderstandings, in this case, an unambiguous death of a human. And that's a fair point. I was kind of thinking that, like, all these black or shadow versions of these Digimon, these variants, are all going to be somewhat related. Like, we have Black Algamon, and in this episode Black Galgomon, we've had Yokomon, we've had Saberdramon, we've had the Dark Lizardmon. Also, side note, until last week's podcast, I thought that the chicken waddle on Saberdramon was actually just Saberdramon's big dumb long tongue. And having to look at those screenshots and see that it wasn't, like, I just thought it was a big dumb tongue hanging out of the beak, and I was just like, oh, that is just horrific. But no, it's a chicken waddle, because of course it is.
That's really good.
But I'd also like to point out
that...
No, actually, Saberdramon has been around for ages, and this chicken waddle, I'm fairly certain, is a new addition, because Saberdramon was in the Digimon World games and was just a black version of Birdramon. So Okay, so the reason why there were so many variants in the original Digimon World game was because they only needed one model. They could have Birdramon and they could have Saberdramon. That could be one model and just change the color, and it would mean that they could have more Digimon, but
They
have
could put the number
less
on the
models.
box. Anyhow.
They actually didn't. From memory, I don't think they numbered how many Digimon there were, but in terms of there were Digimon you could raise, and then there were Digimon that you would encounter to recruit to help out in your city, or just the bosses that you would fight against, or just the random things that you would fight. We also had things like Nisei Drumojimon, which is just Drumojimon but with a moustache. We have Modoki Betamon, which is just a slightly different mohawk-coloured Betamon. It's like a pink and neon green Betamon instead of an orange and green one. We have Dokunamon, who is just a dark green Kunamon, who is just a yellow worm. There's all these different colour variants, and it was because of the limitation of how many models they could have versus how many Digimon. They could have smaller amounts of models just because they could have different colour variants. And now we have all these cool variants, but
And I guess my argument, though, is that they very easily could have gone Birdramon, parentheses, virus.
Yeah, and that's another thing with the variants, is that there's so many of them that some of them just have completely different names. Some of them have something like a prefix Digimon name, like Dark Lizardmon, or Nisei Drumojimon, or Modoki Betamon. There's all those, but sometimes they were just completely different names, like Birdramon and Saberdramon. There's also the Metal Greymon virus, which is the original Metal Greymon, and there's just Metal Greymon from the anime, which is orange, because he looked more good in terms of benevolent. But anyway, back on to the YouTube comments. Twilord says they fell asleep during the Digimon Con because they're European, and as Europeans they're not capable of staying awake in general. What a mood. And they say that, did they really confirm that they're not planning to expand the TCG digital client at all? They thought they were planning to modify it for public use eventually. So they said there's no news yet about a public use. At the moment it's just for events and just manual, but they didn't say whether or not we'd ever be getting it. They just said there's no public release yet. So that could mean that they're going to have one, or it could mean that they don't know if they will or not, because they're just still testing it. I'm not sure, but I hope that we get something, because it would be nice to play the game online, but I'm hoping that it's automatic and not manual like the one that they've currently been using. On that note, in one of the games at the Digimon Con, because it is manual, there was someone who, whether it was on purpose or not, accidentally cheated by having a card trigger during their turn, but it was most only trigger during the opponent's turn, or vice versa, and they ended up losing anyway, but it benefited them to do that misplay. But it's not really sure if they were doing it on purpose, but it would have been obviously helped if it was an automatic system rather than the manual system. Anyway, so Twilord continues to say that the new episode of Ghost Game was a lot of fun. That fire thing is a really cool concept. Kinda hope they make that an ability in Survive, or even Survive 2, because it seems like it would be a lot of fun in a TRPG. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Survive. Hopefully it comes out one day. Next, we have Narumi, who says, this episode showed that Gammon is growing up, even though it sucked that the writers made Ruri and Kyoshiro useless, and we could not see how strong these two Digimon were by adult-level standards. They beat Jellymon and Wezen Gammon, but they can't say they were stronger than Tesla Jellymon or Simbara and Goramon. They're not a fan of shonen, and that's why they got a little bit annoyed when Gammon got all the protagonisms. Their main highlight was Gammon learning how to control the evolution, so he will use more of his other evolutions that aren't Battle Gammon. They're not impressed with Battle Gammon's performance because they're sick of seeing him, and yeah, me too.
Yep.
And they say that Chaos Gammon finally reappeared after so long, and yeah, me too. I'm like, every time I see Chaos Gammon, I'm just like, yay! They then continue to say Blacktailmon Uva is still a mystery, but that is how the show is, and wants to make them keep on watching it. With all that said, they give that episode a 4 out of 5. Next, we have Andrew, who says the episode was fire and scary, slowly winning the races eventually. They thought that the minions of the Black Agumon are someone, but they're just these nice bullies who want to return home. And they're saying that next week's episode, which is this week, it has the return of the Spider Lady. How cool if she disguises as a human in 02. And yeah, they did. They
You're
did.
onto
And I'm really happy that they did that. And lastly, we have Cole, who says they're not sure if all of Gamon's evolutions are necessarily stronger now. This is likely one of the first times they've been fighting champions, so it's actually an even fight. Though they did accidentally make the green flavor evolution the worst one. And yeah, Wesengamon has not really taken me as like... No, I don't think Wesengamon feels exceptionally strong, because every time we've seen it, it completely loses, reverts to Gamamon, and then we get another evolution.
That
or gets interrupted
is true.
from blasting all of the Weedmons because, whoops, they got away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, has a barrage
But,
of quick attacks from a stationary position ever worked for any shonen protagonist?
Don't think so.
One Punch Man, maybe? I haven't watched any of it, but it seems like it could. It seems like it'd be the sort of thing to make fun of in that.
Yeah, perhaps.
I don't know.
Anyhow.
But yeah, so those are the comments for this week. Let's move on to our thoughts about the series so far. How are we feeling about the show? I'm feeling pretty good about the show now.
Yeah. They can deliver when they want to. And I just hope that they can do that more
I hope they
frequently,
get the
but I'm
good
not gonna hold
writers
my
in
breath
on some
for
of the
it.
filler.
I mean, filler can be good.
I agree that it can. I just hope they get, the writers who do darker, scarier episodes in on some of the less plot important episodes.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
I'm just really looking forward to... I don't think we'll see Gulas Galmon again for like another significant chunk of episodes.
Probably.
But
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering when we're going to start getting the perfect evolutions, because we haven't even, like, glossed over them at all. Like, we're spending more time with the adult levels, and that's not a bad thing, but in all the other seasons, usually we're getting to perfect level, but we're not really... I don't think we're even addressing the levels so much in this season compared to other
No, and
seasons,
it's
which
been
are just like,
good.
oh, that's a mega level.
Yeah, and I'm glad for that, because the level of a Digimon means absolutely nothing to me.
And apparently this show, too, it doesn't seem to mean particularly much.
And I think
Which
that's
is-
good,
it's-
because if
which
we had
is
to
fine.
care about power levels for Arachnimon, who has just has always been exactly as powerful as the plot required.
Yeah. Also, kind of sad that Arachnimon turned out to be just, like, evil, even though that was better than just, like, oopsies, my mistake.
Yeah, no, I'm very
It
relieved
means
that
that-
my prediction last week was
Yeah.
wrong, and that it wasn't just oh, whoops, you mean people don't like having their heads eaten?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that it's not that, but in other case, I kind of wanted... I mean, just the 02 baby in me kind of just wants Arukenimon and Mummymon to hang out,
Yeah,
but we're obviously not getting that because Arukenimon got her face exploded.
sure did. I
Along
do
with the rest of
wonder
the thing.
if she was affiliated with, a group of some kind, or if she somehow found out about Hero just from somewhere.
I got the impression that she was just on her own and liked eating people and their faces and brains.
But how do you know to pretend to be Mom working with the Amanakawa Institute?
Okay,
Data
what
scraping
if,
and
like,
neural networks.
Well, she ate a scientist at the start of the episode, so maybe there could have been like some
yeah.
extra dialogue at the start of him just like saying, I'm going to show the hero's parents now, and then she eats his brain and then finds out through that way,
Yeah.
or something. There felt like there could have been more of a connection between that, and it would have made more sense for her to know why she needs to go to Hero. It was just like...
Yeah.
I was surprised to see her show up. I was just like, well, that is a character walking into the plot to be murdered. But we don't really have a reason why other than what I'm just guessing, which isn't even immediately obvious. Like, did she get some information by eating someone's brain?
Yeah,
Certainly could have been that.
Also, I will say that, good for her eating the brains of the bourgeoisie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what a mood. Eat the rich.
For whatever reason, this episode, I'm just not really concerned with the why of how things came to be. I'm just like, I can think up several plausible explanations, and for some reason this week I'm not being
Yeah.
so much of a curmudgeon about, well, then tell me why.
Yeah, that's fair.
At least it was good.
There wasn't a lot of dead air, as it were.
Yeah.
I'm alive.
We like air alive.
Exactly.
Yay! But, yeah, so I'm feeling good about this show again. There have been a couple of episodes that have had me, like, a little bit pessimistic, but this episode put me back on a nice track of optimism.
Yeah, it's always nice to get a strong, solid episode to renew my faith in Ghost Game.
Yeah. Next week's, or rather not next week's episode, 2 weeks from now's episode is episode 22, Nightmare, and that looks like a very scary preview. It does seem to be another Mon of the Week, but then again, I thought this week's episode looked like another Mon of the Week, and it kind of was semi-plot, so...
They're faking me out on the bandages again?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they're not, which I would be very here for.
Mm-hmm.
It would be radtacular.
It would be radtacular and radtastic.
I would be not very here for it if we do have Hiro take off, or not Hiro, but Kiyoshiro take off the bandages, but it's in the dream, and so whatever's underneath doesn't actually count.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that, actually. That'd be so, that'd just track his character.
I'd only be down for it if we later on, either later in the episode or later in the series, actually learn what's under.
Mm-hmm. You gotta tell me at some point.
I don't think it's anything. I think he's just being a toonie.
Yeah, well, then confirm that he's just being a toonie, you know? Yeah.
Have it get burned off or something at some point. Or have him, actually do a zero fill or whatever the hell he called it.
Integer overflow.
Literally
that was Cell World. Zero fill.
Look, it's all the same thing.
Sort of. I don't know. I'm excited for the for them to do dreams next episode. I really like the sort of dream narrative stuff and playing around with that. One of my favorite books actually that I had to read that I absolutely would not have expected to become one of my favorite books. I had to read for an English class also in college. It's called The Unconsoled, and it's all written in dream narrative, and it's just a bunch of weird time and space being weirdly fluid, and things just kind of change with no real reason, but in a way that you don't really notice immediately. So I'd be super interested to see them do some stuff like that.
Alright everyone, so thanks for listening to the show for this week. You can join us next time for episode 22, Nightmare, which, keep in mind, is apparently not going to be on next week, but is probably airing on the 20th. And this is according to Fuji TV and the official YouTube for Digimon's uploading. So don't be surprised if there's no Digimon next week, but I'm sure we'll keep you updated on the tweety.com. So the link dump's linked in the description, and so is our Redbubble, and also ways to contact us, such as emailing us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or commenting on this episode on our website, which is LostinTranslationmon.com, or on this episode on YouTube, and we'll read it out for Postmon Pat. You can also follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can follow us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. I'm at Digimon_Hero on TikTok, and I stream on twitch.tv/translationmon. You can chat with us on the Lost in Translation Mon Discord server, and you can leave us a review on any podcast catcher that you use, if it accepts reviews, and if I see them, I'll read them out in Postmon Pat. If not, let me know so I can find them and read them out on the show. You can donate to our Patreon, and that's linked in the description as well, from as little as $1 a month. Then that gets you access to the Patreon-only areas of our Discord server, but there are higher levels, more rewards such as unedited and early episodes and more. And of course, thank you to our current supporters on Patreon, Stephen Reeves, who is Wild164 on Archive Our Own, Kadawashi, Chisai, who can follow on Twitter at Chisai236, Neobo, who says you should follow Chisai on Twitter at Chisai236, Carl, Lismet, who is Elecmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Sam, Emery from Gone While Hunting, a Hunt Hunter Rewatch podcast, Magnus, Lucas, JCMon05, Patrick, Jason, Grey Tanuki, Shelby, Digital Hazard, who is on Twitch at The Digital Hazard, Dedicated Ghazi, Alemist, and Michael. And of course, you can make a one donation on PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Edgemon. You can also, of course, donate to me on my Coffee account, I've forgotten how to read words, ko-fi.com/Edra. I did so well with that flubbing, and then I forgot how to spell F and then I. But in any case, thanks for listening, and of course, thank you to Chloe and Quinn for joining me again this week. Mm-hmm. Chloe, can we find you anywhere?
On Discord occasionally. I don't know. I considered interjecting, actually, briefly, when you were talking earlier about reaching out to us via email. Come on, let's be real here. We're not checking the email.
I am. I will copy and paste.
If you want to get a hold of Air, you can use the email. But if you want to get a hold of me for whatever godforsaken reason, I'm on the Discord.
Howling at the moon and sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon.
Sure. I mean, sometimes. Not often, but sometimes.
I will always reference that.
But in the land of
what
Twilight,
is that referencing?
Under the moon.
It's a song. And if you can hear a dog in the distance, it's her telling me to stop referencing songs by the Living Tombstone and to give her dinner. But anyway, Quinn, can we find you anywhere?
On Discord, sometimes making .hack references.
And sometimes the neural network.
Present time,
but,
present day.
Every time, yeah. But anyway, so thanks, y'all, for joining us. And, of course, we'll see you in the next one, wherever that may be. Take care, and bye.
Bye.
Bye.